Friends, this is the penultimate episode that we're doing in this series. We have been discussing, and we still are discussing, the question we're answering is, do we have control on what our purpose can be? It's been a marathon of sorts. We've done about 7 or so episodes, and we just have 2 to go, including today's episode. And we've quite learned a lot along the way, that there are some things we do not have control over. We don't have control over 2 things. We don't have control about our birth, and we don't have control over our death. But those are events. However, we have a lot of control over our lives. And therefore, there is this connotation that we do have some kind of say in the purpose our life is supposed to serve. Why do we have the say? Because we have the power to choose. Even though we have been designed to operate in a particular way, it is possible for us to choose something totally different, and no one is going to shoot us down. Stay tuned even as we develop today's episode.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Life Signatures episodes are brought to you by africanbooks.com, which is an online ebook platform that seeks to broadcast the African Christian voice to the world. As such, they have become a hub for African content, connecting African writers and publishers with a global reading audience. Publishing your books on their site is free and easy, with authors having full control over their content and the price they choose to sell at it. I was personally blown away by the concept that africanbooks.com is coming up with. Things like no content from their site or their app is going to be run on laptops so that people can easily copy. In other words, your content as a writer is restricted from digital multiplication or digital copying, so you remain intact with your information. And the other concept that I got so blown away with was the fact that in some time to come, in due course, africanbooks.com will be starting to announce African Writer of the Year. In other words, there will be competitions in all African countries to figure out who is the best published author. And I also fell in love with the fact that countries can actually compete against each other. We can have African authors going at it after each other, and your book as an author will be reviewed and have some stars and recommended upon that particular platform. The thing is that it's an answer to Amazon.com. You know, with Amazon, what happens? You've got to have an account in the Americas or whatever, or in Europe, before you can get paid as an author. But here, the local currency is in play, and the local means of getting paid are in play. So to get started, go to africanbooks.com as an author or as a publisher, and even as a reader if you wanted to read your African favorite authors. Enjoy. To get the benefit of these episodes in this series, you'll need to go back at least 7 episodes back and start going through them, all the way from episode number 1184 start going through them and learn a thing or two that we've been talking about fate, about destiny, and so on. But over the past 3 or so episodes, I've been talking about the reasons as to why I believe you are not a victim of fate. Let me just rush through these reasons, and then we do one more, even as we continue learning. I believe you're not a victim of fate because you're predestined. You've been planned, been organized, you've been intended. That's number one. Number two, I believe you're not a victim of destiny. You're not a victim of fate because you are pre-qualified. Means that for the purpose that you're supposed to do, you don't have to go to school to qualify for it. You've already been qualified for it. Now you're supposed to go to school to be equipped to do it. Get it? So number two, you've been pre-qualified. An example is this microphone that I'm using today. The microphone is pre-qualified to do whatever it's supposed to do. Before it was being used the way I'm using it, it was pre-qualified. The necessary things that are supposed to be fitted in it were fitted. In fact, that's number three. The reason as to why you are not a victim of fate is because you are carefully, slowly, methodically, intentionally crafted. You are actually, number three, prepared to come here to do something, and that's why you are the way you are, gifted the way you are. You speak the way you do. You hate some things the way you do. You love others the way you do. You see things differently the way you do. You have been prepared. That's why you're not a victim of fate. We talked about that yesterday. In the episode today, I want us to talk about this. The reason as to why, number four, the reason as to why you are not a victim of fate. Listen, your future is locked in your present. You are not a victim of fate because your future is actually locked in your present. Your present unlocks your future. God hid your purpose where He knows that you cannot miss it, and that's within your heart. That's according to Dr. Miles Monroe, who passed away. See, everything you want to know about yourself is not outside of you. You're a walking library. You're a walking nucleus of everything there is to know about you. Your breakthrough probably is not in another country. Maybe it could be. That's why I'm using the word probably. But only to the extent that you figured out who you really are. Everything you want to know about you is not outside of you. It is within you. Take a look at what makes you angry. We've been talking about these things. What is it that brings joy to you? What is it that excites your laughter? What is it that makes you burn the midnight oil, the midnight lamp, burning your candles on both hands, even if you're not going to be paid for it? What is that thing? Not everything ticks you off, right? There are some things that do, others don't. At the same time, take a look at what draws the bowels of compassion from your heart. What moves you? What is it that causes you to shed a tear, or just shake your head, or just close your eyes, or just cringe? What is that when you see you don't want to look at it? What is that is it excites or elicits this bowels of emotion from your heart? Not everything touches the soft spot of your heart, isn't it? But why is that the case? Have you ever asked yourself that? Why is that the case? I normally tell the story when I was a young boy. Playing outside, I was watching, and somehow a hawk came and just picked one of the chicks from a hen and proceeded, just not so far, proceeded to a tree, perched to a tree. I could see everything, just outside our house. And I could see this hawk top on the tree. I could even hear the chick being devoured and screaming, so to speak, until its voice was silenced by the talons and the beak of the hawk. And it broke my heart to a million pieces that day. I was only a boy. I think I was 5 years of age, because I know I was 5 years of age, because I know the place where we were at and what happened next, because what happened next, we moved from there to the village. And I know that I got to the village primary school at the age of 5. So I was a very young boy. I was below 5, but that thing moved me, broke my heart into several pieces. And another boy would see that, and they would be laughing and clapping and calling others to come and see, I check, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? But not me. It moved me in a different way. Why? Why is it that I am moved in a different way than you are? It's because I am unique. It's because I am the only one who responds to matters concerning that. Because deep calls to deep. Looking within you, you can never fail to see the path that leads to your destiny. And that path, even as I've written in my book, Discover Your Purpose, 8 milestones in the journey of your purpose, there are some hints, and one of those hints is the compassion that lies within you, something that breaks your heart in a different way as compared to somebody else. Why would it do that? If you have a bout of compassion over something, it means that you are not a victim of fate. It means that compassion should guide, should lead, should call you. You should follow that compassion and see where it leads you, because you cannot fulfill your purpose outside of what you're passionate about. Therefore, I do believe that if you look at your passion, if you look at your compassion actually, and your passion also, because your passion follows your compassion, if you look at those two things, you will realize that you are not a victim of fate. Why would those bowels of compassion be there? You ain't a victim of fate. Your purpose is never something to do with fate. It's not something that you do, you don't care about. You do care about it deeply. It is firmly part and parcel of your destiny. That's why you respond the way you respond. And you know why this is important? It's important because, let me tell you this, purpose doesn't answer to money. I know this is a very fast statement I'm making and it's very original with me. It doesn't respond to money. Purpose responds to compassion. It responds to feelings. It responds to trouble. It responds to solutions that need to be. Actually, it's a solution responding to a problem. That's where purpose is. It's not quantified in terms of, when you look at, I've talked about Apple 1,000,000 times in these episodes. When you look at what Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak did, you could not separate their passion from their work. In fact, if you remove the passion that they had for their work, you don't have Apple. As a company, it's gone, it's dead, it's buried even before it starts. That's where I believe that you are not a victim of fate, because at some level there is some semblance of compassion, some depth, something that you might not necessarily be compassionate about people. Compassion is not necessarily just about people. These feelings I'm talking about, not just about people. You could be compassionate about animals or a dog. Have you ever seen a dog with one leg that has been, a dog that is wounded, and your heart just moves? Why is that? See, a dog is God's creation, and if someone is moved with the bowels of compassion to solving dog problems, that person is called by God, as much as the person who is having a microphone preaching waxing lyrical about salvation and hell and heaven. They are both called, and compassion is the indicator. That's why I do believe you're not a victim of fate. So tomorrow we're going to close these episodes, even as we have been discussing why I believe you're not a victim of fate, and why I believe you do have control on what your purpose can be. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.